India's premier wildlife photographer and educator, also known as Catman. Your story from basically a commerce degree to tracking big cats. How did this happen?
I didn't start off as a wildlife photographer.
Where you noticed a tiger feeding on a leopard, right? That was something amazing. What was going on in your mind? So, in today's episode, I'm super excited to welcome India's premier wildlife photographer and educator, also known as Catman, Harsha Narsimhamurthy. Hi, Harsha. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Piyush. It's an honor to be on your show.
So, Harsha, tell us about your story from basically a commerce degree to tracking big cats. How did this happen?
Honestly, very speaking very honestly, it was a clueless journey for me.
Okay.
Being a commerce student, that is when I think I got more interested into wildlife and nature. As a kid, I was very keen on wildlife because I grew up listening to stories about the forest, or how I used to listen to the stories of my grandfather who used to be in a village and they used to encounter big cats once in a while. A lot of times, the big cat used to come and take their cattle, all these stories. As it progressed, I think I had forgotten this passion for wildlife. And then suddenly I rediscovered my passion when I was doing my bachelor's because an NGO came and screened this beautiful movie called as Truth About Tigers. And that is when I started getting the interest back and started going and talking to a few people, talking to a few NGOs and all. And that's when I decided, okay, this is what I want to do. This is where I belong. I want to do something in wildlife. And very interestingly, I didn't start off as a wildlife photographer. I
Okay.
started working with a few NGOs as a field assistant for their projects, volunteering for some stuff. There was this NGO called as Watchers India Trust, who I worked with initially. And I think probably a photographer came after the wildlife lover for me.
So you got hooked up with wildlife first, spent a lot of time in wildlife, and then photography developed as an interest, right?
Yeah, so I think probably 2010 was my first introduction to this movie, The Truth About Tigers.
Yeah.
And gradually, in the next 2 years, I started going and volunteering for this NGO called as Watchers India Trust. I think because I volunteered so much, I started seeing so much of wildlife around. I think that's when it made me feel okay, I should keep them in my memories and I should take pictures of them or probably preserve them in my memories. And that's how the photographer started. And honestly, I never thought I will do photography as a profession at any point of time. Initially, it started off like just for the sake of my memory. That's all.
So you wanted to capture the moments that you were noticing and then remember those
Absolutely.
moments. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very beautiful. So Harsha, I've also heard that you heard a lot of your stories from your grandfather. Any interesting story that you still remember? I would like to share with our listeners.
Yeah, so my parents, my dad was born in this village called as Jalmangla, which is in Karnataka, close to this place called as Magadi, which is a big hillock, a lot of hillocks around the area. So he says when they were young, people used to be scared to step after 4 o'clock in the evening because of sloth bears being
Oh,
around. And that's the kind of the habitat, the environment surrounding they have grown up. And my grandfather used to occasionally tell me stories of how these big cats used to come and pick up cattle from the villages. I don't know if it was a tiger or a leopard, but probably leopards for sure, because even now there's a lot of leopard activity in those areas because it's a beautiful rocky forest patch. And I think that is the first interaction for me where I got to know there's something called as a tiger or there's something called as a leopard. So, and also the thing which got me hooked to tigers was this show, a popular show all of us know, Jungle Book.
yeah.
So when everyone used to watch to see Mowgli, I used to be waiting to see Sher Khan.
Sher
So
Khan.
I think
Okay.
that was the click for me.
Okay. Nice. So you were tracking tiger in the Mowgli serial also.
Yes.
So, Harsha, recently, like sometime back, there was a big natural history moment, right? Where you noticed a tiger feeding on a leopard, right? That was something amazing. What were you feeling when you noticed this? Like what was going on in your mind during that time?
Honestly, I didn't even pick up my camera for the first second. It happened in Ranthambore in 2022 June. I was on a safari hosting people on a photography trip, and we came across this tiger in Zone 4 of Ranthambore. And because it was at a distance, he was eating on something, and initially everyone thought it was a spotted deer or something, and no one in the wildest dream thought it was a leopard. So because he was eating in a very far distance and he was pretty small in the frame, I didn't even bother picking up my camera. Then I thought, let me check through the binoculars, which I always tend to do. I picked up my binoculars and started looking. I was like in disbelief. Then I put my binoculars down and I was like, I was dreaming. Then again, maybe 10 second, 15 second later, I picked up my binoculars and looked. Then I was like spellbound. They say, you right, that sometimes it's so spine chilling kind of thing. It
Yeah,
was like that
yeah.
for me. Imagine seeing a tiger feeding on a leopard. Oh, I cannot describe it. I think I have no words to describe that emotion.
I
It was
still
like,
get
wow,
goosebumps about
guys.
it. Like, when I
Exactly.
do
Yeah,
work with,
yeah.
yeah.
So I was like, guys, it's a tiger feeding on a leopard. Don't miss this shot. Don't miss this shot. So I was so engrossed in watching it. My guide had to tell me, sir, shoot kijiye, shoot kijiye. Then I picked up my camera and started photographing it. But the most interesting part, no, again, a year later, I thought it's a once in a lifetime moment for me. Again in 2023 March, we again came across another tiger feeding on a leopard kill. So this was like double the maka for me. It was like
Wow.
brilliant, brilliant. I thought that was once in a lifetime moment, but this time it was even better because it was up close, a lovely 400 full frame shot, and I think that was my most memorable wildlife moment.
And Harsha, we have heard about this. Like before you go on a trip, you talk to the guides, right? The safari guides. What is that conversation going on? Tiger kahan milega? Kya hoga? Kaisa hoga? What happens in that conversation?
I talk to the drivers and guides regularly who I work with constantly. So every evening when I'm free, I just call them up, ask them how they are, talk to what's happening in the park. Even if I'm not going, I would be most of the time updated about what's happening in the park. Thanks to a lot of our WhatsApp groups now, you get to know what's happening on a day-to-day basis. But I talk to my guides, I talk to my drivers. We have a lot of fun conversations. It's more like a family. People who I work with, I am very choosy about people who I work with. Once I choose them, they're like a part of my family. They're very close, so I can talk to them about anything. So it's more of a fun conversations than I will be asking them about what's happening when. And just about when I'm go to the park, especially in places like Kabini and Bandipur, I talk to them with detail of knowing the last 1 week's behavior of what happened in which part, so I can plan my trip. Because the advantage of Kabini Bandipur is you don't have to pre-book your zones, unlike the other places.
Places, yeah.
But yeah, so I keep a regular track of what's happening in and around the park. So it gives us some idea of even when we want to book zones for the further season and stuff, it'll give us some kind of idea. And I think more than all that, I think it builds my rapport with my drivers and guides, which is more important for me.
So Harsha, like not many of our listeners are very serious wildlife photographers, but a lot of us want to go to the jungle, enjoy the nature, do the sighting. But one most common thing that I have observed, and maybe you also have observed, that people don't treat the drivers and guides very well, right? If there is no sighting happening or something like that, right? So tell us, tell our listeners, what is the role of a driver and guide when you go inside a jungle on a jungle safari?
I think they're everything. Trust me when I say this, they're everything for you there. They can make your safari a hit or a flop if you, based on your behavior. I'll be very honest about this. The first thing I tell on my tours for every guest is no matter what happens, the guest is not supposed to be rude to the driver and guide. If they have an issue, they have to talk to me and I'll talk to my drivers and guides if they have any kind of issues. Because the drivers and guides put their heart out to work for you. They are there to show you wildlife there. They are there to ensure that you have a beautiful experience. A lot of times people, like you said, treat them very badly. There's a thing where they do not treat them with respect. That's the major thing. That's the bare minimum you can do, right? Treat someone with respect, talk to them a little sweetly, talk to them politely. Just because you are stuck in the third vehicle in the sighting, you cannot scream at them telling, "Arey, आपकी वजह से ऐसा हो गया," all this nonsense. So
Yeah,
I come across a lot of people. So this is something which people should change. People should realize, forget about a tiger, forget about a sighting. It's about treating a fellow human with respect. So that is
yeah.
what I tell people to do.
Yeah, that is really important because we don't know about the jungle. They know about the jungle. They go there
Exactly. Yeah.
out
Yeah.
every day and they're doing a lot of hard work and they have a big heart, you know. They
Definitely. Definitely.
once you
Yes.
hop
Yes.
onto the safari gypsy, they are on to single motive कि सर को या मैडम को
Exactly.
बहुत अच्छा
Yes.
sighting होना चाहिए इनको
Yes.
ये
Yes.
इनको मुझे खुश
Definitely.
करना है स्माइल आना चाहिए इनके फेस पे so yeah that's really important to
See,
bring
like you said,
yeah
they know the park in and out.
right
We go once in a while, even with me who go very frequently. No, I'm not in the park the entire day. So they know it. And my motto is I let them do their own style. I tell them that you are the boss. You decide what to do. We generally have discussions. We tell them, could we do this? Can we try this? Can we do this? So based on the discussion, we all come to a conclusion and decide something. You shouldn't be bossy about telling them, you do this is where you should go, this is what you should do, because a lot of times I've seen people who try to take over the driver guide's role and mess up sightings. A lot of people I've seen like that.
yeah yeah so they are the experts to take us to the moment
Exactly, yes.
and then it's up to us whether we want to capture the moment or we want to enjoy the moment right
Definitely, definitely.
so that's amazing and Harsha we've also heard that you're a tabla player so tell us something about that how music helps you and how did you get hooked up with music in life
I think it's complete credit it's to my parents. When I was probably 5, 6 years old, they enrolled me to this class. I honestly didn't have any idea about what music is then. And I played for many years. I played for close to 15, 16 years. I finished a lot of exams and stuff. I can qualify as I can call myself as a good tabla player today. So I had some great gurus who taught me tabla, honestly speaking, and it really gives me, though I don't play it very regularly these days, it definitely gives me a lot of peace when I do that. And I think music somewhere has got deep rooted now that I enjoy listening to the forest sounds. That itself is a music. You know, I keep jokingly tell the best place to sleep is a forest because the
yeah
kind of sleep you get in that nature sounds is unmatched. It's beautiful. So I think playing tabla, understanding music and all has really helped me understand a bit of the nature's sounds, appreciate nature sounds and stuff.
Harsha, you started Catman Chronicles 2 years back, right? What is much harder, chasing the big cats or chasing the cash flow?
Honestly speaking, both are tough. Both are tough actually, and thankfully, touch wood, I'm doing well in both. It's been a great journey for me. Before this, I worked for one of the premier companies for a long time, which gained me a lot of experience, a lot of learning. People mentored me there very beautifully, and when I started my own, I was good enough to take this role independently, and I think it's been a great journey for me. Touchwood, speaking very honestly, I have had the great fortune of hosting a lot of beautiful people on lovely trips, had some beautiful memories on the trip. But on the same way, yes, it's always a struggle in the market. Like with so many players emerging, it's always a challenge to keep up with the market. The market is too diluted now. So it's
Yeah.
always a challenge for the cash flow, for sure, like you said. And I think till now, I have not had such kind of issue where I have to really be too much focused on it. What I have understood from this is do not chase too much of cash flow and stuff. It kind of stresses you out. I am pretty sure that there are some things which you can do to do it more comfortably and more peacefully.
And Harsha, you said that you were working for a premier, group before you started Catman. So a job or working for someone, every month end you get the salary, and the financials are good. From there to an uncertain domain wherein you're starting your own business, you don't know when you're going to get paid, when the client is going to sign the check, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And what was family's reaction during this transition?
Apart from family, also myself also was a bit hesitant, bit scared. But then I thought it's high time for me to do something on my own. And when I told about my family, I think they were more cool than me. They were more calm than me. I don't know what made them feel that. They were all more calm than me.
Your type of work is really physically very taxing, right? It's very hectic, lot of travel, lot of late nights and early mornings, wake ups, right? So how do you manage all this stress? Because going into jungles day in day out, doing safaris. I myself do a lot of safaris, so
Yeah.
I understand that you have to wake up early in the morning, go for a safari, then you get a little bit of lunch break, and then you hop on to another safari, and then you keep on doing that back to back, back to back. So how do you manage all this stress?
I think the whole point of which makes me wanting to keep going back and back is the thing that I'm in the forest itself. That's kind of more peaceful for me. But like you said, I see a lot of people feel that we are doing some holiday kind of job. It's like a lot of friends tell me,
Yeah,
"Arey, what guru you can do? You're enjoying in the forest. You're having fun." I said, "Yeah, I'm having fun, but it comes at a cost." It's like people say that we are working on a 9 to 5 job. It's very hectic. I tell them our job is more hectic.
yeah.
Get up at morning 4 o'clock, 4:30, be awake till night 11:30, planning for the next day, manage people, manage the permits and all this. The We wake up, we don't have enough sleep, we don't have the right kind of food because we keep traveling. I have had health issues, honestly. I have had health issues because of change of food habits or change of sleep routines and all. But I think out of all this, probably the thing what I'm doing, showing people, exploring, giving an introduction of our forest to people is what makes me happy. And I think that is what is making me keep on going.
Nice. And any health or fitness routines that you strictly follow when you are on the safaris?
Honestly, no. I'm extremely bad at it. But off late, I've started at least walking, take some walks around, trying to do some basic exercises to keep myself fit, do some back exercises so that our back is not gone for a toss, especially after doing so many safaris. There are times where I'm on the field for 20-25 days nonstop,
Wow.
doing close to 40-45 safaris, and your back is gone because it's so bumpy, you have tailbone issues and all of this comes. So keeping some basic fitness will really help you. Doing some stretching, some kind of basic things will really help you.
I've seen this. We noticed this. There's so many players in the business. There's so many creators pushing in content related to wildlife, and everybody is chasing followers. While
Yes.
while I see you chase for felines and those moments and all. So how do you keep social media as a tool, not as a trap?
Honestly, no. If you look at Instagram, their algorithm, again, people go mad for Instagram followers. If you see their algorithm, so if you have 1 lakh followers, your post might be reaching probably 1,000 people or 2,000 people on a regular basis. If at all you're lucky and your post hits the algorithm, then there might be a high spike in the number of people seeing your post and stuff. I think having followers doesn't mean anything, very honestly. It doesn't mean anything. It's just a number. Wherein people initially, it's not like I never bothered about followers. Initially, I was also kind of very keen to grow my numbers, grow my followers and all. But over a period of time, I realized it's useless. Rather than that, I would generate content which will make people happy. Even if there are 10 people who are watching it, I want the 10 people to feel happy. It's okay if they don't feel like it's wow, but I want to make them feel that it's good for them. They should be happy from watching it. So that is what I think is social media for me. And another way of what I look at social media is it's just making connections. And I'll be very honest with you, so if I look at my Instagram numbers and if I look at the business conversions, probably it's say 1% of it, which is like
Hmm.
nothing. So that's why you don't really waste time too much on social media. I don't even really know. I ensure that I post one post a day every day on Instagram. After that, I don't even look at what's happening there.
Okay, that's a great insight. And also, Harsha, like, there are many people who are into wildlife photography these days because of the digital cameras and mirrorless cameras. And it is very easy to, buy a good gear and then go into the wild and click photos, right? And then people spend a lot of time doing post processing, right? So, for
Yes.
enthusiasts who are into photography, what is your message for this kind of thing?
Say post processing is very important in your pictures, that's for sure. But your photo shouldn't be made in post processing. So it's like doing it in your computer, right? So I prefer telling people, I always tell people, your 90% of job should be done in your camera. Only the 10% of the camera's flaws, what the camera cannot do, that should be done in post processing, because it could be some highlight recovery, it could be some shadow recovery, it could be some playing around with the colors. These kind of things as the basic thing what your post processing does. A lot of people tend to do everything on post processing. These days, though, people add elements into the thing, which is AI.
Yeah.
I understand it's an artist's perspective, but I wouldn't consider it as wildlife photography. Let me call it as wildlife art, and I'm happy to appreciate it as wildlife art. People adding fog into there, people making their background blurs unnaturally. So I think people are more worried about getting likes on their social media profile. They go do like fancy kind of editings and all of this stuff. So I don't really enjoy, and it's very sad to see that a lot of them, even if I take 100 people, I think 90 people are doing it.
And for the new people who want to come into wildlife photography or want to pursue wildlife photography seriously, what would be your message? Where should they start? Where should they invest initially?
I think they should invest on learning about animals first. I think they should be a wildlife lover than be a photographer. They should learn the thin line which is there between when to stop doing what, when to stop doing what. So they should realize that, okay, they should not overdo things at times. Like a lot of trips where we do, like recently I did a macro trip. So I had this very clean rule. Per person, it's only 5 flashes photographing a frog. So after that, if they're not getting it, we'll try for a next individual because we don't want to stress the animal, right? So I see a lot of people try to do anything for that shot, which is not ethical. You're not being a wildlife lover. You're just being a photographer. You're not being a wildlife photographer, is what I feel. So people should have some patience. They should have the passion for nature. So if they have this, then I'm pretty sure they'll succeed.
Great. And for the kids, like a lot of kids these days don't like to go connect to the nature or go into the jungle because they like enjoying the gadgets, the theme parks,
Yes.
a lot of virtual stuff. So share us something that might inspire the kids to go into the jungle and connect with nature.
I feel that until they are seeing it live, they would never get that connect. So if parents are willing to take their children, if they can afford a trip to the jungle and take them to the forest and stuff, they should definitely do it, because I have seen how kids, like you said, who are addicted to gadgets, keep their gadgets away and enjoy seeing wildlife. In one of the kid in Africa I had, he was the most interesting kid I've ever met. Every time he used to see an animal, he used to take a scribbling pad and sketch the animal. So
Wow.
it was amazing. Or else he used to be hooked on his phone. So it was so amazing the way he used to sketch and stuff. It was that's when I realized, until you put them to this thing where you give them that actual experience just by talking on the phone, just by telling them about things or showing them things, I don't think so they'll get interested. It's like just another show for them. So when you probably bring them directly here, that is when they really enjoy it.
Yeah, and then there is there's this factor that there's very little patience, right? So the kids start complaining, अब तो
Yeah,
मुझे
yeah.
बोर हो रहा है, ये तो सफारी में बस गाड़ी चल रही है and I'm not seeing anything and I'm getting bored and I'm sleepy and stuff like that. So how to keep them engaged, how to keep them basically connected to the wildlife or to the nature.
See, a lot of times I have kids on the trips when I do private
Yeah.
guided trips. So I think it's about how you basically showcase it. So a lot of times on my photo tours, people wouldn't want to stop for a spotted deer, or people wouldn't want to stop for a wild boar or something. But when I'm with these kind of kids, to keep them engaged, I weave a story about a spotted deer. Tell them, wow, this is so beautiful. Have you seen this? See this, how amazing it is. See the bird coming and sitting on it. So this kind of brings them in an interest, telling, oh, this is something nice. This is very
Hmm.
something interesting. This is something very rare. I tell them, see, this is a very rare thing you're seeing. Yeah, you are seeing it for the first time. Have you ever seen this? So these kind of things, I think, helps them tell that storytelling. If you build a story and if you try to I think make it more beautiful for them. I am pretty sure kids enjoy it.
And Harsha, you have taught a lot of people about photography and wildlife, and share some moments that you still remember, and they were some fantastic moments with your students.
In fact, I really enjoy when I see people making pictures. So I'm very honestly, I am very brutal when it comes to giving feedbacks. People keep telling and joking about it. I have had someone who cried on my trip because I told the photos are terrible. So I asked someone to delete the photos because it's bad. So at the same time, when it's beautiful, I really appreciate it. I tell them that this is what I give, very honest feedback for the thing, because I don't want to fool people just because they're paying me and just because they're my clients. Just to please them, I don't want to give them feedbacks. I believe in giving very, very honest feedback. I want them to learn. I want them to take their photography to the next level. That is what I think as a role of a mentor is, honestly speaking, where you should always tell people where they can improve and what mistakes they're doing. So when I look at a picture, no, first I'll never look at the good parts. I'll look at what's bad in that. So I'll try to pick out if the exposure is bad, if the shadows are not lifted, if the white balance is bad. So these kind of things. So after all that, if everything is perfect, then I'll tell the person, wow, beautiful image, you should print this. When I tell someone that you should print this, then I feel like I have 100% like the picture. That picture is beautiful for me. Only then I tell, please print this image, make a print of it. So I think in that way, I can say I'm very proud to have seen people grow from scratch and make beautiful images today. I have a few guests who are like amazing today. They can make some lovely images. I recently saw a lot of portfolio where it was amazing. So it feels really happy for me. And I know for a fact that they're spiking up their growing stage.
When a student finally gets the photo, right? What is that behavioral change in them that you notice that tells you कि अब इसका level up हो गया है, अब इसको now he has to be on the next level?
I keep telling people that the day you start deleting your photos, I think that is where you're gradually improving. Because, and also tell the day you stop shooting randomly and minimize the number of shots, that is where you gradually grow. Because I think that is the epitome of photography, I feel. You know when to click and what to click. You are not randomly shooting stuff. In fact, a lot of times when I come back from trips, I might have 3 images or 4 images, that's all. And people ask
Wow.
me, is that what you have shot? And I say, I just wanted these four, and that is how much I've done. That's it. There have been a lot of trips where I've not even picked up my camera, and people jokingly ask me. And I'm really happy to see that change happening in my guests now. At least with someone who's been working with me for the last few years, they are coming to that level now. They know what to shoot and what not to click. The machine guns have stopped now.
Oh, yeah. And so, Harsha, like you said a few moments before that, you only shot 3, 4 photos in one trip, which might be a like 5, 6 safari trip, right? So, uh, did you pre-visualize those shots? Ki I want this kind of shot only. Only then I will click. Otherwise, I'll just stay there. Or how
Not
did you
really.
plan?
It was not a pre-visualized, but it was not a photo opportunity. So
Okay.
this was, honestly speaking, not even a 6 safari trip. This is a 17 safari trip in Bandhavgarh. It was a
Wow.
winter of
Six
Bandhavgarh,
photos in
17
17
safari trip.
safaris.
Yeah, yeah.
Eh,
17 safari trip. And we used to see tigers, but nothing great photographically. There used to be a tiger very far off somewhere. There used to be something behind the grass or something. So these kind of things, it was not really fun. That season was somehow very dull for me. So I think that season I shot very less number of images.
Okay, and let's while we're talking about the photography and trips, and there's one more important topic, that is ecotourism, right? A lot of people do not understand what is ecotourism and what we should do and should not do going as a tourists to these national parks or tiger reserves, right? So, what are the things that you would like to suggest or give message about that?
See, ecotourism, no, it's like two sides of a same coin. There will be advantages, there will be disadvantages. Like when I look at advantages, it generates a lot of revenue to the park. People keep moving around in the area. There might be times where they might have come across some kind of troublesome wildlife moments. Like there could be a animal injured, there could be a snare or something like that they would have come across. At the same time, the disadvantages is the crowding, overcrowding, even which I am a part of it. Honestly, I'm a part of it. I have been a part of the crowd where there are 20 vehicles in the line behind a tiger. The tiger is trying to cross the road and we are blocking its way. So these kind of things. Then I think pushing the animal to its limit, trying to get that one shot. So people should, I think, you cannot change everyone. Very honestly, you cannot change
Yeah.
everyone, but you can make a self-conscious decision that you don't want to be a part of that crowd. A lot of times these days I don't even stay in crowded places. I tell my guests, guys, let's leave this, let's go and try to find something else. It's not a good sign to see, because you cannot change everyone. You cannot tell people that please don't do this, because there will be someone who has come to the jungle for the first time, or maybe once a year kind of crowd, and he wants to see the tiger badly, and he tells, I paid so much of money. So you cannot change everyone. So the good thing to do is don't be a part of that circus. That's all. Just be away from it, and go around. If it's okay, even if you don't see a tiger, at least I am happy that I am not troubling the tiger at that point of time. The tiger is not stressed because of me at that point of time. Other thing is, there's a line which you should draw between your photography and your ethics, where you should not cross it to get that shot. There might be
Yeah.
a time where you might see an animal approaching you. There's a distance to be maintained between you and the animal. When you sense the animal is not getting comfortable, it's always better to back up your vehicle and
Hmm.
stay far away. These are some things which I follow and I urge people to follow.
Yeah, because that split second when you're thinking, "अरे मेरा photo बहुत अच्छा आ जाएगा,"
Exactly, exactly.
you are unwillingly, or without knowing, you are breaking some rule. Uh,
Very
this is
true,
not
very true.
this is not the rule that the government or the forest department builds, but it's a rule of the jungle. You're going into the circle of the fear of a animal. You might scare them away, or something might happen. So better to be alert in that moment, and
Very
try
true, very
to
true. In
maintain
fact,
the
very
distance.
honestly, recently we chased a tiger a lot too much than for a one shot. Then I felt, okay, this was the last time I'm ever doing it, because I could see the stress on the tiger's face, and I decided, okay, this was the last time we are doing so much. Let's leave the tiger. Though he was not like directly getting disturbed by us, but we kept on constantly going, so he kept on moving. So we decided, okay, this is the last time I'm ever doing this.
Yeah, and coming back, Harsha, to entrepreneurship, you started Catman. You must have started alone, and now tell us about the that journey of starting a new business and then building up a team. Who all are there in your team? How do you manage stuff? What type of processes, systems you have implemented so that you can do the stuff smoothly, so that the fellow entrepreneurs can learn something from it.
So for me, Catman Chronicles was, I think, one of the dream which I want when I wanted to do something independently. I looked around for a lot of names, what to do, what to keep, and stuff. Then someone suggested me, you already have a brand, you already are known by a brand called as Catman. Why don't you keep the same thing with it? So Chronicles is adventure, so I made it Catman's Adventures. So initially I was very hesitant, very honestly, like I said, because I was getting paid somewhere every month. doing a monthly job. Even I used to get a salary, even if I don't do tours and stuff. But here now, if I don't have clients, if I don't have business, there's no money, right? So it was a risk for sure. So, but I took that risk. I said, okay, let me do something, and thankfully it became great. It's going really great, thanks to all the people who have been very encouraging and supportive to me. And with my team, I have a fellow co-mentor Vijendra who works for me, and I have Swati who is like the backbone for my company. Very honestly, she's like I keep jokingly telling that she's the CEO. So she does A to Z job of the back end work. So she takes care because we are traveling constantly. We have no clue of what's happening, what. So she ensures everything is in order. Talk to the lodges, talk to the permits, and all this stuff she manages. So this is my team, a small team. It's more like a family for me, a very small team, but it's fun working with these people. And I think my team has been one of my biggest strength for me to grow like this.
And initially when entrepreneurs start the new business, they are involved in every small decision that is made in the company, right?
Yes,
You must have gone through the same journey.
yes.
And how did you evolve out of it? What type of systems you created, and how did you delegate things to your team?
So even now they still come back to me for small decisions, but I have told them to take, like, there might be some decision of what cost to offer to whom. If there's a patron who has done many trips with us, so we are okay to give a additional discount to them when they ask for it. So these kind of things I ask them to decide on themselves. Then I ask them to choose stores which they want to do based on their preference and give their dates for me to work along. So these kind of small things, when I don't sit and look at for whatever I am doing, it saves a lot of time for me, and it also doesn't give me more headache of doing things. So in that way, my team has been really great in taking care of responsibilities and doing it themselves.
And what happens when they do some mistake?
Mistakes happen, so it's okay. It does happen. So I think if they realize what the mistake is and they don't repeat it, that's a win for me. So it really happens. There have been a lot of times where we have had fumbles with the costing itself, but I think it's all in the game. So you cannot really be too much stressed, too much worried, and screwing the person who's done it. It's okay. It's small. This thing, I feel it should be okay. I think when they rectify that, I think, making mistakes helps them understand that they should not make a mistake again.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that is the best part about it.
Yeah, I heard this from somebody like, uh, you only appraise a person who does a lot of mistakes, क्योंकि mistakes नहीं हो रही है मतलब कि काम ठीक से हो नहीं
Exactly. Then no, 100%. Yes, very true.
right. So, Harsha, imagine a 12-year-old Harsha, right? And what advice a catman would give to 12-year-old Harsha?
Maybe start off young. You should have started off wildlife pretty young. You should have known about wildlife. I think you wasted a lot of time on other stuff. You could have done more better if you had known wildlife. You would have been more happy if you had seen wildlife documentaries and all back then.
That's a very honest answer and very honest reflection, I would say. We have personas in business, right? So, since you are connected to wildlife photography and all, if there were personas for the business, like for example, lion is the CEO and leopard is the CMO, what would you think picture yourself as and why?
Oh, I always would want myself to be a tiger. That's my
Oh,
favorite animal. I think my spirit animal, my go-to animal, anything. I think I love them so much. I love tigers so much. I've I recently yesterday added some of the sightings which I had in this year of how many unique tigers I had, and I've crossed 500 unique tigers in the last
wow.
12 years, and
Wow.
I still get excited like I saw my first tiger. Yeah, whenever I see a tiger, no, I still get excited when in 2012 was the first time I saw a tiger in Bandipur. So I still get the same excitement that, oh, tiger, tiger. So even, in fact, my drivers and guides tease me, how many times do you get excited seeing the same tiger? Like, I don't know. It's kind of some adrenaline rush whenever I see a tiger. So I think I would prefer calling myself a tiger all the time.
Tiger all the time. And Harsha, for our listeners, like what would you want them to take away from your story?
Probably the passion and the perseverance and the patience also. Being a wildlife photographer is not easy. And, being a wildlife photographer has helped me a lot of things in my day to day life also, of how to have this patience. So I think that has really helped. And what I would tell people is, when we spoke about the way of treating drivers and guides, that's something which everyone should look at it seriously. If they haven't, it's high time they do treating them properly. And if they want to basically be an entrepreneur, I would say is go for it. Do not be afraid of it. Uh, there's a chance that you might click or you might fail, so it's okay, but not giving a shot itself is a big crime. Being afraid of it is a big crime, I feel. If you are so afraid of it, you'll never be able to do things. So it's okay even if you click or fail, it's absolutely fine, but give a shot. And to fellow upcoming budding wildlife photography mentors or operators, I would say, get your basics right first before you call yourself a mentor and start training people. So that is what we are seeing lacking in this field, honestly. In the recent times, especially, that is what is happening. They themselves don't know the basics, but they start branding themselves as wildlife photography mentors, which is like cheating people. And
Yeah.
be honest with your feedback. Be very, very honest with your feedback. It's okay if the client gets offended because you tell that the image is not good. You are telling it because it's not good, right? So be very, very honest. Ensure that the person who's on your tour, who's paying on your tour, is coming to learn and take it to the next level.
Great. That's a great advice. And Harsha, like you have been navigated from this journey from chaos to clarity. So, what does clarity mean to you today?
I think still I'm yet to see the clarity, very honestly, but probably I have reached 40-50% of it. I know what I want to do. I know what it is to be a wildlife photographer today, and how it is to be an entrepreneur, how it is to manage money. Honestly, that is something which I've learned, how to manage your finances properly. After starting my own company, have realized how important it's to manage your finances. So that is something I think, one thing which I've got a really good clarity is about managing my finance.
Great, great. Thank you so much, Harsha, for joining us today. It's been a very insightful conversation, and I'm sure our listeners will take away a lot of things, especially about the wildlife photography and what things we should do, should not do when we go into the jungle. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, Piyush. It was really a pleasure talking to you, and it's a great thing that you're doing this. It gives us to talk about our life journey, and it also helps a lot of people learn from our life journeys. So it's a great thing. Thank you so much for this opportunity.